My Big Fat Zombie Goldfish by Mo O'Hara. Read by Miss Claybaugh. Chapter 5. That's No Ordinary Goldfish. No, Frankie, I said as I jumped off the toilet and scooped him up. He wriggled in my hands as I dropped him back into the sink. He swam twice in a circle and then up to the surface, where he stared at me, his eyes glowing a bit green. You stay here. I'll be back. I climbed back onto the toilet seat and turned and pushed the window again, wide enough for me to crawl through. And that was when I heard the next splash and then a whoosh. Green and gold flashed past my right ear as Frankie leaped out the window. I stuck my head out in time to see him land in a puddle of rainwater on the garage roof. Jumping down, I quickly dug the plastic bag he'd arrived in out of the trash. This was too weird. Frankie really wanted to go outside. None of the ping pong ball fish ever did anything like this. Once I'd filled up the bag with water, I scrambled out onto the roof. I guess you're coming with me then, I said as I scooped up Frankie from the puddle and plopped him in the bag. I tied a knot in the top and held the bag in my teeth as I climbed down the side of the garage. My feet felt for the top of the compost bin. Got it. From there, I jumped down onto the lawn. Escape Route 5 was a success, even carrying a fish. Result. I ran around to the front of the house and peeked through the window. I could see Pradeep's back. He was sitting in a chair and Mark was standing in front of him showing him the chemistry set. If Pradeep could just keep Mark downstairs for a little bit longer, then Frankie and I would be back before he noticed. In seconds, I was at Pradeep's back door, inching it open. His mom was inside making popcorn. Popcorn kernels popped and banged so loudly she didn't hear the door open. She rolled some popcorn pieces in green marshmallow fluff and rolled some others in blue marshmallow fluff and then squished them into little round globes. Then she poured the melted white chocolate over the top of each of the little earths. It took me a second, but then I got it. Melting polar ice caps. Cool. Samina, she called out, can you come and help Mommy take out our party plates? Sammy burst through the kitchen door wearing mermaid pajamas with a blue and green tail swooshing behind her. The tail got caught in the door, yanking her onto the floor with a thud. I covered my mouth so she couldn't hear me laugh. And before you say anything, laughing at little sisters doing stupid things is totally not evil. It's not even mostly evil. It's just regular. As Pradeep's mom went over to help her, Frankie and I moved over to the cupboard where all the party stuff was kept. I crouched low behind the counter and put Frankie on the floor in his bag so I could open the cupboard and reach inside. Samina, would you like to lick the chocolate bowl? Pradeep's mom asked as she put Sammy back on her feet and turned to take the chocolate and marshmallow popcorn balls out into the living room. I heard the kitchen door shut behind her. Sammy toddled over to the counter that we were hiding behind. Bowl, she announced in that really serious way when tiny kids have of saying stuff. She stuck her hands in the bowl, smeared them around, and then started to lick the chocolate. Then she squealed, Fishy, fishy! I peered around the corner to see Sammy jumping up and down on the spot and Frankie swishing his tail in circles and paddling his front fins at the same time to roll the bag toward her. How did he figure out how to do that? Fishy, fishy! Sammy shouted again. I jumped out from behind the counter. Shh, Sammy! Her bottom lip started shaking in that earthquake warning. This tantrum is going to be a 9 on the Richter scale kind of way. I scooped up Frankie off the floor in his bag and handed him to Sammy. She gripped the top with her chocolatey fingers. I mean, shh, quiet little fishy, I whispered. Shh, little fishy, she giggled. She stared at Frankie in the bag. Swishy little fishy, she said. I ran back to the cupboard in search. Flour, sugar, sprinkles, icing, tiny little icing polar bears. Ah, food coloring. I grabbed the little green bottle and ran back to Sammy and Frankie. Sammy was still holding the bag, but she was much quieter now. She just whispered, Swishy little fishy, over and over. Frankie stared at her with his big green bulging eyes, and she just stared ahead. What was with this goldfish? He could survive toxic guns, jump out of windows, and now he could make the noisiest little kid on the planet go quiet? As I looked at Frankie, a little light bulb went on somewhere in the back of my head. Frankie's green glowing eyes? They looked like the undead gaze that the zombies in Mark's comics used to hypnotize people. And Sammy's stare. One of her eyes was looking at the wall, and the other one was looking up my left nostril at the same time. It was a goldfish stare. Maybe I hadn't saved Frankie's life at all when I shocked him with the battery. Maybe I brought him back from the dead. And now Frankie was a big fat zombie goldfish. And somehow he had hypnotized my best friend's sister. Chapter 6. Dawn of the Zombie Toddler. I had to get back to Pradeep. He would know what to do. Maybe they'd learned about hypnotized little sisters in Cub Scouts. I grabbed Sammy's slimy, chocolatey hand and headed for the back door just as Pradeep's mom came back into the kitchen. Oh, hello, Tom. I thought you and Pradeep were playing at your house. Isn't Pradeep with you? Hi, Miss Kumar. Pradeep asked me to come and get Sammy because my mom said she could come play with the new goldfish we got. I mumbled. Is that okay? Swishy little fishy, Sammy said again. Well, tell your mom that's fine, but Pradeep should bring Samina back in half an hour for dinner. Would you like to come as well? I can. Okay, I blurted out, pulling Sammy by the hand. Pradeep's mom was still talking as we ran out the door and around the back of my house. I pushed Sammy through the dog flap in the kitchen door, escape route 14, and then squeezed through myself. Sammy was still doing the freaky goldfish stare, and I knew I had to get Frankie back up the stairs and into his bowl with clean green water, or Mark would completely kill me. I peeked around the corner into the living room, but Mark and Pradeep were gone. Then I heard Mark's mumbling voice upstairs. Frankie started thrashing around in the water, like mad at the sound of Mark's voice, and I swear his eyes started glowing more than ever. I quickly pushed Sammy and Frankie back into the kitchen. Just wait here, I said, and remember, shh. Sammy put a chocolatey finger to her lips as she held the bag in the other arm like a baby doll. Shh, she said. Okay, I know that it might seem strange to leave my best friend's hypnotized little sister alone with a zombie fish that hypnotized her, but I don't know how to explain it. I just kind of knew she wouldn't be in danger with Frankie. I also knew, even back when my brother was just mostly evil, that Pradeep would totally be in danger with Mark. Zombie goldfish are like code blue in jelly bean terms, but evil scientists' big brothers are definitely code red. I snuck upstairs and slowly peered around the corner into Mark's room. Pradeep was on the floor. Oh no, I was too late. I could see his feet, but not his body or his head, because Mark's desk was in the way. Pradeep wasn't moving at all. Mark must have knocked him out. He'd gone completely evil now. The millipedes in my stomach were having a squirming party. Mark stood in front of Pradeep and looked at the goldfish bowl. Fine, he said. If you won't tell me where my experiment is, then you won't say nothing at all. Then I saw Pradeep's foot wiggle and I heard him trying to talk. Mmm, he said. He sounded like he did the day we had the green cupcake eating contest at his mom's, and he was trying to say, "No more cupcakes, please," with a mouth completely squashed full of cupcakes. Shut up, Mark said, and kicked Pradeep's foot as he went toward the bathroom. I'm going to put more water in the fish bowl. Stay put, moron. I ran into my room so Mark wouldn't see me. When I heard him turn the tap on the bathroom sink, I jumped up and tiptoed back to the doorway of Mark's room. I had to get Pradeep's attention to check he was okay, so I made our secret, I need to get your attention and check you're okay call, which is a cross between the snake hiss and a dolphin click. Pradeep sat up as soon as he heard. He shuffled forward from behind the desk. His arms were stuck behind his back. Then I saw his face. His mouth was completely taped up with scotch tape from ear to ear in one direction and right down his nose to his chin in the other. Just his nostrils were tape free. He even had little crossways bits of tape going across his cheeks and jaws. That's gotta hurt. I guess maybe telling Mark about what's in a crocodile's stomach wasn't such a great idea after all. I gave him the thumbs up sign and held up the little green bottle of food coloring for him to see. I think Pradeep smiled a little then, but it was pretty hard to tell for sure with all the tape. Then Pradeep shook his head really hard. That's when I felt the thwack to the back of my head and I saw the carpet in Mark's room come up to meet my face.